This what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, March 23rd. I am Tori, here with Lindsay and Erica. Glad to be joining you both at the table. Let's get started. For those of you who watch regularly, you know we film our show here right in Denver, Colorado, which is exactly about 30 minutes down the road from Boulder, the site of yet another horrible shooting rampage. We know this: 10 people were killed inside the supermarket when a gunman opened fire shortly before 3 p.m. yesterday. Those victims
Holy shit.
Sorry. The dead is 51-year-old police officer Eric Talley, an 11-year veteran of the Boulder Police Force. He leaves behind his wife and 7 children. Oh, man. His body was escorted by a long procession of first responders who passed through the city with their lights flashing. Several eyewitnesses described their experiences inside the store yesterday. Take a look at this.
When we had gotten out of the store, there were people laying in the street. I tried to run for him, and my son pulled me back and said that we had to get away.
I wasn't the smartest and ran outside to see what was actually going on, and then there was shooting. I ran back inside, immediately grabbed my phone and called 911.
I was literally thinking about going to the other end of the store, to the frozen food section to grab some ice cream, decided not to, and turned the other direction, and, you know, a moment later, shots rang out.
This is, of course, the second mass shooting that's made national headlines in less than a week, which has a lot of us asking, and you guys are already writing, is this what getting back to normal means? Hard day for us here. It's 30 minutes away, but it could be anywhere in America, but it just keeps happening. Is this back to normal after the pandemic, Lindsay?
I think the hardest part for me was that I think we're all looking for something positive to look forward to in the next coming months with the announcement that we can maybe be with our family on July 4th. And I think to see these 2 shootings back to back that made national news, and then this one so close to home, it's like, oh, okay, this is also part of what was normal pre-pandemic. So many shootings, hopefully not, but there were school shootings, and we haven't seen a lot of those because school was out and there were not people gathering. And so now that people are not afraid to go to the grocery store, now you should feel unsafe again going to the grocery store. And I have to admit, King Super is a grocery store that we all shop at. And so last night I needed groceries and I ordered them online for the first time. Like, wow. I was against it the entire pandemic, but I was like scared to go out of the house. And so that to me says something about where we are. And I just think we all have to step back and figure out how we can actually solve this. Since we had 2 years almost to just be by ourselves and think, maybe this is something that we should spend more time thinking about.
Yeah, and I would modify that only by saying it's the American normal, right? This seemingly just does not happen over and over. The pandemic seemingly, and I'm going to call it a pandemic, is an American phenomenon. I know other places have shootings, but this mass shooting, this gun-loving way, feels so American to me. Erica, how do you feel about everything?
I think, you know, in terms of it referring to it as an epidemic, gun violence in this country, especially mass shootings regularly, is something that we have to look very differently at where we are this year compared to where we were last year. There is a reckoning that had to happen not only with us personally, but us as a society. And are we going to go back to business as usual and a normal that can't possibly be reflective of what we experienced a year ago? So why should this part of it be reflective of what we experienced a year ago? I think we really need to take a serious look of what we are going to accept and how we are going to embolden people to feel that they are entitled to take other people's lives in this way and just look at it as, oh, it was a really sad day. No, it wasn't a sad day. It was a horrific day. It was an infuriating day. It's an infuriating thing that happened. And to call it things like incidents or another, it feels so dismissive of what this really is. Lindsay ordered groceries yesterday for the first time in a year during a pandemic because she was scared to go to the grocery store. What does that tell you? Like, I mean, honestly, what conversation are we having here?
Yeah, you guys, a lot of you are writing in. How many shots fired incidents have there been this year, month, week? Tell me again why we don't need stricter, saner, more common sense gun laws. That is Just Me on YouTube. I do want to let you guys know that a judge blocked Boulder, which is where this was, from enforcing its 2-year-old assault ban rifle on March 12th. And this happened just days later. I'm not connecting the two in any way, but I'm simply saying I wish we could make it harder for people to get these types of weapons. All right, switching gears here to some good news. More and more people are becoming eligible to get their vaccines. 3 states, West Virginia, Tennessee, and Arizona, announced plans to expand vaccine eligibility to anyone above 16 years old. That's starting in the next 2 weeks. Meantime, if you're hungry, Krispy Kreme is making your vaccine all that much sweeter. The company is offering free donuts to anyone who shows up to a participating location with proof of your vaccine shot. You can get a free glazed donut each day for the rest of the year?
That's a lot of donuts.
Whoa, I got very interested in that last part. Trevor Noah had this funny tweet in response saying, and if you don't qualify yet, don't worry, Krispy Kreme still offers affordable pre-existing conditions.
I mean, this is awesome that they're doing this and that they're taking the initiative to tell people, get the vaccine and give some incentive. But it also made me realize, because I also have been to Iceland in the past, and I got an email from the Iceland government, whatever, telling people we're open for travel again if you show your vaccine paperwork. And we've had this conversation at the table that says, we're going to see that people are either you're vaccinated or you're not.
I want to see those cards.
Right, it's an option, but is it really? You can't live in the same way if you're somebody who likes to travel a lot, or if you're somebody who likes to go out to different places. It could become, show me your card or you're not coming in here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a very serious conversation for a lot of people. I reached out to our Dr. Coley this weekend because I've gone to the OBGYN. There's a lot of conflicting information out there. And for women who are pregnant or trying to get pregnant, there was this mass alert in the beginning, don't
get that shot.
Right, don't get the shot.
Right.
Now they're actually vaccinating pregnant women. And different countries have different requirements. So it makes there's so much to really think about, but I don't want it to become a situation where it's either compromise the health of yourself or your concerns about bringing a child into this world,
right,
or be able to live in the free world. I mean, that doesn't really seem fair either.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversations to be had by medical professionals.
And there needs to be studies, right? We're finding that maybe antibodies go through the pregnant woman into the fetus and protects the baby, but very few pregnant people have been in those tests. So people, I'm 39, I'm not saying anything out loud because my Jewish mother is watching, but it's nerve-wracking for that reason. So but I do think polio, I wish people would go back to the polio immunization process in which kids just lined up and got shots and you had to show an immunization card. We all had vaccination charts, remember that?
Right, we don't think about it anymore.
Right, but that worked.
But that's what I said when it becomes a mandate, and it's so touchy right now. There's not enough research. I know even going back to pregnant women, it's yes, people during the trial were pregnant, but they figured that out randomly. It was oh my gosh, all these women were pregnant and they didn't know, not that they willingly were pregnant and went through this. So I think a lot of people are waiting for this information so they can find out if they make the choice, if it's safe for them, or the years that might pass to know that it's guaranteed safe.
Yeah.
And then when you see it confirmed as mandatory in schools and things like that, you're going to know it's really not an option anymore.
Yeah, interesting. Let us know what you guys think on that before we go to break. We do want to take a little moment to remember basketball legend Elgin Baylor. He passed away from natural causes at the age of 86. Baylor was an 11-time NBA All-Star, 11 times, and Hall of Famer. He played 14 seasons with the Lakers in both Minneapolis and Los Angeles. He also helped revolutionize basketball to become the aerial sport it is today, as he was well known for his ability to literally hang in the air. Wow.
I was reading online like he was Jordan and Julius Erving before, without the credit. Obviously nobody's Michael Jordan, all these things, but he got, because of his era, he could modernize basketball, and then we gave all the credit to some of these people that came after him. It's like the person that paved the way that you don't really remember as much as the big, big stars.
Or paved the airway.
Why?
It says in the prompter, quick button at the end, and I'm like, that's the one.
We're talking to three people who love sports the most up here. This is who can go on and on.
Definitely Erica. You have season tickets, don't you?
Yeah. I don't know if that makes me love sports.
She's like, I have season football tickets.
Yeah, we'll see. All right.
Well, rest in peace, Julius Erving.
Yeah, and rest in peace because I hope you are.
Elgin.
Julius Erving, Elgin Baylor. I'm sorry. I just brought up Julius Erving, not rest in peace.
Elgin Baylor, please rest in peace, of course. Coming up on DBL, the new woke twist on the iconic board game Monopoly. We'll tell you how fans of the game can weigh in. And later, putting the spotlight on inner beauty with celebrity hairstylist.
Dr. Boogie, welcome to DBL. I so appreciate you. I have shared my natural hair journey with our audience here at DBL, and I am so beyond flattered that my story made it all the way to you.
Your story is what half the women in America are going through. Trying to figure out what to do. Is it the right thing to do? Are they shaming themselves? Like, what is the right thing to do? Is there right? Is there wrong? So your story, oh my God. Thank you so much for even being bold enough to share that story.
Welcome back to DBL. The board game Monopoly is getting a makeover. For the first time in 85 years, all of the game's 16 community chest cards will be replaced, so the cards better reflect what, quote, community means in 2021. The old cards mention things like winning second prize in a beauty contest or collecting $100 from a holiday fund. Well, Hasbro is inviting people to vote on some new woke game cards on the Monopoly website. Some ideas: collecting $200 for shopping local. Here's another: you held a neighborhood party but you didn't recycle your trash. Pay $100. And your friends video chat you after a tough day, get out of jail free. Is this necessary? Let's also remember that Hasbro did Mr. Potato Head. So there is this sense of that Hasbro seemingly desperately wants to be woke, which is fine. Or is this just a branding strategy?
I think one, it's probably a branding strategy because you can get people to purchase a game that they haven't purchased in years. Although we did just get a new Monopoly board for Christmas. But also, I don't know if it's woke or if it's just more current. I mean, this is an updated version of what's happening in the world. So yeah, I think it's just making it more current.
I wish maybe the word woke hadn't even been there. If they had just said updated it. The woke thing is what gets me.
Yeah, I think that they, to me, when I see kids, I see them on video games, in their iPads. I don't even see them on a board game anymore. And so you need to do something to make people want to play games again besides like the parents and the grandparents in the situation. And so I think this might be something that's more fun if you say.
And I especially
and
think
the aunties.
And the aunties.
The aunties, yeah,
right.
exactly.
And it's true. I just heard Michael Dean say in the pandemic, so many people went to board games. Like, we are big into puzzles, like kind of too much.
Really?
Yeah. It's a little weird.
Nothing wrong with that. We play cribbage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel better. We're going to get to our own cards that we made for you guys. So first up, we have Lindsay's card. What would you like to see in a card?
I want people to pick up after their dog and collect $200 and pass go. Yes. Because I live in an apartment complex right now, and hopefully not for long, but I'm just telling you, in that complex, it's so much accumulated dog.
That's disgusting.
Dang, whatever you want to call it on TV. And it just sits there, and I'm like, who is yelling at these people? Do something.
How disrespectful.
I'm just always like, we know what your house looks and stuff.
Right.
Erica, what's your card?
That's not right. Okay, my card is.
We know what your house looks like.
You ordered food delivery and didn't tip the driver. Lose a turn and pay $50 to the player on the left.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Unless your driver is that girl in Long Island who we talked about, who went off about not enough tip.
That's true.
Yeah, tip your bartenders and waitresses.
Please.
They're just in vehicles now.
Mine is get your acai smoothies to your neighbors, but collect $250 if you pronounce acai correctly.
That is so specific.
No clap. No clap.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you all.
acai.
Thank you. Pity clap. Thanks a lot. Coming up on DBL, Erica catches up with celebrity hairstylist Dr. Boogie.
A new study suggests a surprising number of coronavirus patients are suffering from issues with their hearing. Let's connect the dots. The research out of the University of Manchester in Britain found nearly 15% of COVID patients reported tinnitus, a ringing in the ears. Nearly 8% reported hearing loss, while just over 7% suffered from vertigo. Hearing problems can be caused by other viruses like measles and mumps because they damage the sensory cells in the inner ear. It isn't clear why COVID-19 could cause ear issues, and it's not clear how long those symptoms last. Some patients report ongoing problems, while others say they clear up after a while. While the research strongly suggests a link between coronavirus and auditory problems, more studies are needed. Right now, there's a year-long study being conducted in the UK to investigate the long-term impact on hearing in coronavirus patients. The team leading the research is hoping to find out what parts of the auditory system are affected. Once they can track that down, they hope to be able to help people who are suffering.
Hundred 320-2928. Your acceptance is guaranteed. Make the call today. 800-320-2928. Call now.
Welcome back to DBL. My hair journey has led me to love myself authentically by celebrating my natural hair. And celebrity hairstylist Dr. Boogie is helping other women do the same. I spoke with him earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
Dr. Boogie, welcome to DBL. You know, I have shared my natural hair journey with our audience here at DBL, and I am so beyond flattered that my story made it all the way to you.
I'm so proud to share this moment with you.
thank you so much for even being bold enough to share that story.
Dr. Boogie, that means so much to me. So I understand that growing up, your mother was a major inspiration for you becoming a stylist. And now you style major celebrities like my faves, Vivica Fox, Taraji P. Henson, and Miss Queen Debbie Allen. So how did your mother inspire you to want to heal women by doing their hair?
I grew up in a little bit of dysfunction. There was some battered in the household. So at that point, when my mother would go through that situation, I kind of would get behind the couch and like brush and comb her hair. And I learned that that soothed her and it really relaxed her. So then I was like, oh, I got a little power in these hands to make people feel good. So as I continue my journey all the way to where I am now, it's still for me all about making someone feel good.
Well, on the flip side of what happened during the pandemic, on the client side, a lot of us had to forego going to the salon. A lot of people still haven't gone back, and we've been left to our own devices ever since. So what tips do you have for women who are trying to look their best on their own?
Looking your best on your own. I do want to say, if you can get into the hair salons, please support our hair salons, our hairstylists, our barbers. They need it, they're hurting. Please try to keep your hair on a professional level when you're getting styled by somebody professional with the chemicals and things. Stimulate your scalp, because that will promote hair growth. And lo and behold, feeding your hair as an African-American woman is so important, and so many of us don't do it.
I know I kind of enjoyed learning my hair during this time because normally I don't get that opportunity to see what would happen on day 3 versus what happens on day 5, you know? So that was an interesting experiment, but I am ready to go back and support the professionals, that is for sure. So let's get to your new show, My Main Problem. This show is a show after my very own heart. I got teary-eyed just watching the trailer because you're really showing women how to love their hair.
Look at yourself running from the mirror, and what you were running from, I have no idea, because you are absolutely gorgeous.
So what inspired this show?
As I say, when a woman let herself go or when she kind of gave up, it was a reason why. Now, I'm no therapist, but I have been behind lots of heads, and I've spoken to many of women, and the key is to understanding what they're going through, what they went through, and how can we make them feel better by giving them a look that they can maintain and moving forward, but most of all, being confident with it.
And DBL Nation, make your appointment with Dr. Boogie by checking out his new show, My Main Problem, on AMC's new streaming service.
We got this question from a viewer. Are people with certain blood types at a lower risk of contracting COVID-19, specifically O blood types? Our sources are Dr. Amish Adalja, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, and Dr. Anita Dua, a vascular surgeon from Massachusetts General Hospital and professor at Harvard Medical School.
There are some preliminary data that shows that certain blood types put you at lower risk for contracting COVID or having severe COVID.
Right now, there are a number of studies that were done around the world. One was done in France, some in China, of course, the United States, here at Mass General.
Dr. Dua worked on the study at Massachusetts General Hospital, and she's about to publish a paper on what she found between her study and those done around the world.
It's still a 50-50 split. We don't know. There is some data that supports the idea that if you're type O blood, maybe that is in some way preventing you from getting the disease.
The issue is all of these studies are retrospective, meaning the researchers are just looking at the patient information after it's happened.
So it's not something that you can make a causal link from. You can get a hypothesis, you can see a correlation and association, but in science we want to kind of demonstrate cause-effect relationships.
And as a result,
blood type is not a part of any decision-making process, whether it be for severity of COVID or for susceptibility of COVID.
So while there is some data regarding blood types, at this point, experts cannot definitively say people with type O blood are less susceptible to COVID-19.
Welcome back to DBL. Will getting a COVID-19 vaccine affect the payout of your life insurance policy? A lot of people have been asking, and the answer is no. We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck. So over the past week, there's been a lot of misinformation spreading on social media about the vaccine and life insurance. Some are falsely claiming the vaccine is experimental, so if something happens to you when you get it, you're not covered. We want to be very clear here, that is false. And life insurance policies have not changed because of the vaccination. When it comes to life insurance or any type of quality and affordable insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. I'm glad we got that cleared up. Really quick, Brian from Facebook says, don't let these tragic events stop you from living your life. Just be very vigilant. I have PTSD from the service. Unfortunately, I'm used to hearing gunshots. And it is, remind yourself, but also thank the grocery store workers who got dozens of people outside of the loading docks.
Yeah.
Bless those people. Bless those people. But yeah, maybe now we'll see exits.
Right. Well, you should notice where your exits are, just in general, anywhere you go.
I really got to be better at that. I really do. All right, guys, goodbye to our coworkers at home. We'll be back together soon. We're new every day. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.